We're here at Coldwater Cove Campground, Willamette National Forest here in Oregon, up against Clear Lake. There are 33 campsites. Let's go check them out. Today is May 7th. We're a couple of weeks away from the start of the season. The first site was taken, presumably by the camp host. We'll start at number 2. Realistically, number 1 is an inner. I probably wouldn't have picked that one anyway. So here is site 2. Nice long driveway. We got a picnic table, fire pit here on the left. Beautiful Willamette National Forest. Actually, let me stop and just pan back here so get a sense of the epicosity. Definitely has a beautiful old growth feel. There's our fire pit, picnic table. And I will come around. Almost look like there's a second bench here. A little unusual, yeah. For some reason there's a bench next to the picnic table. A little bit of unorthodox design. Probably put my tent straight ahead here. Nice flat area, good shade. Come down here, you can still hear a bit of road noise. You got a sense of the lake. Doesn't look like you have a direct path. So this is 2. I'd say it's a beautiful little swath of the forest. Not really great lake access. Serviceable base camp. Let's continue along. Got 3 over there for lot lines. So here is site 3. There's the main road and 4 up there on the left for bearings. Site 3, this is not on the lakeside. Nice flat long driveway, good for any vehicle. You do have the road over there again, 4. Big stump, picnic table, fire pit here on the right. See here, I think you would have to put your tent straight ahead here. Move that little log right there. Yeah, probably put your tent right where I'm standing. Let me pan around here. Fire pit, picnic table. Certainly serviceable. I don't know if I'd say epic, but serviceable. Decent privacy lines. Not right on top of another site, but pretty generic as far as the Willamette National Forest goes, keeping it real. Kind of the way I like to bifurcate these sites is what I call destination sites, which, you can spend a lot of time at the campsite. It's like a dream, grade A, 1A level site. And then you got your base camp sites, which are serviceable, 3 squares in a cot type mentality. Maybe you're hiking in the area. You're not gonna spend a lot of time at the campsite anyway, so it doesn't need to be perfect. Very serviceable base camp area, Coldwater Cove Campground, but we're trying to separate the base camp from the destination ones. I'm looking for the destination ones. Here's site 4. There's our main road. Nice long driveway. You got a picnic table, fire pit. Come over here. This one's got kind of a low square footage vibe. I think you have to put your tent over here on the left because that's frankly the only place that it could go. So your tent's over here. I mean, you have a beautiful section of Willamette National Forest, but you're a ways away from the lake, and you can even see there's a forest road between you. So if you're trying to get maximum Clear Lake shoreline access, these first sites are kind of on the inner. They're the farthest away. So this probably isn't the zone you'd even want to be camping in, keeping it real. So that was site 4 as we continue along. Okay, so over here on the right, we've got our fee area with some signage, a little turnabout. So slow down 10 miles per hour. Got a junction of the campground. Turn left or go straight. Here on the left, we also have campsite 5. It's got probably a very good RV style driveway. And look down here, you got great shade. You got 2 picnic tables, fire pit, barbecue station, a couple stump side tables. I dig it. Got a rustic vibe. We'll also point out that this one looks entirely paved, so be good for ADA, presumably, which is great. So you come down here, now this paved ramp seems relatively smooth, and here are your picnic tables, the fire pit and barbecue station. So great shade. So that part I like. I don't love the privacy lines, as you can see, because there's that fee info area straight ahead. You're gonna have cars stopping there. You have the campground road meandering right by your site. And also up here is the turn for sites 6 through 19. So from a single family privacy play, if you're trying to get a little swath of forest, I probably wouldn't do this one. But from an RV or ADA mentality, I think this is a great one. So continue along. So I'm turning left here, 6 through 19. And we will see how it goes. There's your wastewater only right next to site 5, so that's convenient. Okay, so here is site 6 on the right. Great turnabout. I always view turnabouts great for RVs because then you don't have to put it in R, which can be annoying if you're big in RV. Again, paved to your site, so good for ADA, I would presume. And let's go check out the actual digs of the site. Picnic table, barbecue station. There's your fire pit. Let me pan back so you get a sense of the forest. So beautiful area. As far as where you put your tent, I think you'd have to put it straight ahead. Not a lot of other places you can put it. Again, you've got the campground road going right by you, so you'll see all the cars going by there. Again, that's 6 through 19, so a lot of traffic. So again, serviceable base camp, not a destination site, kind of a generic swath of Willamette National Forest. You're not up against the feature in this clear lake. So serviceable base camp, but nothing destination worthy to seek out by any stretch. Let's continue along, my friend. Okay, so we got 7 and 8 coming up here straight ahead. Okay, so here's 7 and 9. They do have a little bit of a privacy violation amongst the two of them. There's the wastewater in the middle. Park here, you got your picnic table, fire pit on the right. I do like the way it's paved, so props to them. This is probably a more friendly ADA campground than most, which I think is great. Straight ahead is where I'd put my tent. It's really the only place you could put it. I like the stump here, adds character. So coming around here where you'd have to basically put your tent, you do have a straight shot to the picnic table for 9. Coming over here on the other side of this epic old growth tree, you do have the parking for 9. So let me pan back and just give you a sense of the epicosity of this area. A big part of the draw of this area is these towering old growth trees. So I want to make sure I capture the impact of them and don't just stay at a human eye to eye level. So let me come around here. So that was 7, serviceable base camp, but it's not up against the lake, nothing special about it. I probably wouldn't pick that one, definitely not a destination worthy site, but serviceable base camp. 9's there on the right, we were just kind of looking at from 7, but we'll do these numerically to be consistent. Here's 8, this is an inner, really good shade, you can tell just from walking up. This one actually seems to be a little bit more private just because of the way it's carved around these big thick trees. Again, I'll pan back and show you the trees. I will do that frequently. I really want to capture the awesomeness of being nestled amongst these towering giants. So you got your paved yellow brick road to your picnic table, your fire pit on the left. Probably put my tent straight ahead there on the right. I think that's the natural area. Let me look over here. Can you put it up here? A little section of forest, you could put it right there. Let me look back at the sun, that's pretty. So you have the orientation. So you could put the tent there. Over there is a little uneven. You could put it right there. So you do have the restroom straight ahead there, just to be aware of. So 8, even though it's an inner, is actually a little bit more privately carved here in the forest, Willamette National Forest. So I actually liked 8 better than 7 and what I'm guessing 9, just because of 7 and 9's relationship next to each other. But we'll go take a look at 9. So there's 9. Remember, it's kind of right up against 7. The other side of that big massive tree is where 7's tent's likely going to be. So 9, you park there. Bearings, here's our campground road. So park, again 7. Again, really, I'm just impressed by the paving. Most campgrounds aren't this paved, so I'll stop mentioning it, but I am impressed by it. I think that's really good for ADA. Here you've got your picnic table, your fire pit, and pretty much have to put your tent straight ahead because that's the only place it would go. But then your tent is near the road here. Let me pan back over. So not really digging 9. Give you the back panorama. So you do have some epic trees, some good shade, but your tent would pretty much have to go there to the left of your fire pit. So not really digging it. Actually kind of a claustrophobic, low square footage site, and it's right up against the meandering campground road. So not really maximizing the forest. A few of these, like I'd much rather be at 8. At least it feels like you're nestled in the forest. You got a little bit more privacy because of the natural line of sight breakage. So that's the first 9. Let's continue along. So there's our restroom, kind of between 8 and 10. Here's 10. This is kind of a claustrophobic one. You park here, they've got the edge of the parking, and yeah, this is a very low square footage one. I mean, look at this, I'm looking at the whole campsite. So compared to, let's say 8, where you go around the corner and you got a lot of square footage and shade, this one is relatively exposed. It's early morning right now, so it looks shaded, but in the heart of the day, if you look up, there's really not that much breakage, so you're gonna definitely feel the sun. This is a sunscreen site. Very low square footage, picnic table on the right, fire pit on the left. You have to put your tent straight ahead because literally that's it. 10 is not good, so I think 10 might be the worst one so far. Keeping it real. And that's a little side trail straight ahead that gets you to the first loop. The campground maze trail system. And here's our restroom. Let's continue along. There's some interesting stairs as far as the Coldwater Cove trail system for this campground. And there's the restroom straight ahead is 10 for bearings. Let's continue along. Up here on the right is 11. So you can see the picnic table straight ahead. That's actually for the next one, presumably 12. We're gonna do 11 first. Yep, 11. The brown numbers, so you believe me, I'm not a woofin'. So you park here, nice long driveway, picnic table, fire pit. Again, you've got the paved little side access. So this one I like a lot better than 10. 10 was claustrophobic AF. This one's a lot better. Let me pan back. You got the epicosity. This is good shade. I mean, you should probably always bring your sunscreen, but this one really doesn't feel like it needs sunscreen. Like this probably stays shady all day. You got a barbecue station. They don't all have barbecue stations. You got a picnic table and fire pit. Probably put my tent straight ahead. It looks particularly suited for that. It's very flat up to this little lip over here. Ooh, it even has like a little table right here carved into the wood. I love those. Rustic feel. So this is 11. Ooh, that kind of little stump there is kind of interesting too. I like the little points of interest. You can use that as a table. Now, as far as the negatives, the positive was great shade and more square footage. You're in Willamette National Forest proper. The bad news is you have a direct line of sight to 12, not ideal privacy lines. So 11's got some good things going for it, but I think 11 and 12 together is a really good play. If you want a high quality forest play here at Coldwater Cove, I like 11 and 12 together. Might be one of the best duos so far. Let's go look at 12. So we got the restroom down there. We got 11. We got the wastewater between 11 and 12. Here is our sign for 12. Also point out we do have the red water pump just beyond 12 before 13. So the driveway is pretty short compared to 11. 11's more RV-ish. This is more like regular car SUV. Got your picnic table, your fire pit. You got great shade. I don't love the line of sight from 11 to 12, but you can remedy that by getting both sides as a group play. What I really love about this one is look at this big, massive edge of the forest. Happens to be situated on next to a sloped swath of Willamette National Forest, which is very high quality. Also, you see straight ahead, that is actually the main trail for Clear Lake Shoreline Loop. So that could be viewed as a positive and a negative. I view it as mainly a positive as far as your access to the trail. But do be aware that people will be moseying on by as they are hiking that. So first time we're actually kind of up against getting contact with Clear Lake. And you're actually seeing the Clear Lake Trail, which is a gorgeous world-class trail. I highly recommend hiking. So that's 12. I really like 11 and 12 as a group play because the atrocious privacy lines between the two. But I do also like that we're finally up against the lake. Again, you'll have people hiking by and you got more road noise, unfortunately, but it's worth it for the lake access. I already pointed out here the water pump between 12 and 13. Here's 13. This is the opposite side of the lake. Flat driveway. Got your picnic table straight ahead. Good shade, you can tell that just walking up. And you have your fire pit here on the left. So that's nice. I'll pan back and just give you the sun so you get an idea of the orientation. Great shade. Probably not one you got to worry about a lot of direct sun, but kind of a low square footage site. In fact, I don't even know where I'd put my tent. Darn good question. Picnic table, fire pit. I don't know where you put your tent on this one. It doesn't feel like there's a natural spot. Maybe straight ahead where that branch is that needs to be cleared. I don't even know where you put it on this one. So a little underwhelmed by the layout of 13. You can hear it behind me. There's a lot of vehicles and planes, but that's just cost doing business here at Coldwater Cove Campground. You know, some campgrounds are deep in the forest and you go there for the solitude, that pin drop silence, like that still feeling where you can just be at peace with Mother Nature and can hear the heartbeats of squirrels around you. This is not one of those campgrounds. Coldwater Cove Campground, Willamette National Forest, is right up against Clear Lake, right up against the main highway. So you never really fully escape that highway sound behind you, which is unfortunate, but just happens to be the way the cookie crumbles on this one. Here is site 14. I like that it's on the right. That's the lakeside, so I'm getting encouraged. You can see a restroom straight ahead. Park here. Again, with the paving for ADA, that's great. Probably one of the best I've ever seen as far as Coldwater Cove Campground. Here's your picnic table, fire pit. It even has a defined tent pad, so obviously put your tent there. I'm gonna take a rocket scientist to figure that out. I will say not the best line of sight breakage with your neighbor over there. So, and you got a wastewater there, community located. So as far as your views from your picnic site, you do get a good sense of the silhouette of the lake, as you can see. It's not like a direct money shot. It's not postcard worthy, but it is nice to have some contact with the lake. You get a sense of the lake. So that's decent. I don't know, this one, I don't love the lot lines with our neighbor next to us, presumably 15. We'll go check it out. Again, we have the wastewater between 14 and presumably 15 here on our right. I didn't like the poor line of sight breakage. There's some trees between you, but it's pretty thin and you can kind of get a direct shot into your neighbor's campsite. So there's our restroom. This place has several restrooms, community located around the campground, so that's nice. Some places only have one. So we got our restroom right here next to 15. Here's our sign for 15. Kind of a short little driveway here. Again, well paved, good ADA, very flat. Picnic table, fire pit, great shade. I will stop here and just show you the epicosity. Willamette National Forest is pretty awesome. So great shade, again, very flat. You can put your tent straight ahead. I will stop here and pan and look. Remember, you got your neighbor 14, direct line of sight to their picnic table. But as far as the positive, look at Clear Lake. This is probably the best lake view so far, number 15, doing these numerically in order. And we have starting to develop a pretty good view of beautiful Clear Lake. See the green color, emblematic of this gorgeous lake. It does also look like you got a little side trail down to Shoreline, so what the heck, we'll take it, right? Practice situational awareness and only do this if you got sure footing, but that said, this doesn't look too sketch. Okay, so I'm glad I did this. You see right here, this is the main trail, the Clear Lake Loop. If you go to like All Trails, you'll see a Clear Lake Shoreline Loop that goes all the way around, circumnavigates Clear Lake. That is the trail right there. So you have access to the main trail. That's a positive and a negative. It's positive for your own ability to go hike the trail. It's a negative as far as you will have people moseying on by right here, hikers throughout the day. So be aware, you'll hear some people walking by and a talking. There is one lake access point right there straight ahead, as you can see, to beautiful Clear Lake. So this is interesting. You've got Clear Lake access, come down this little thing, and you've got a direct shoreline access. So definitely the best access and views of Clear Lake so far. Great access to the loop. Also, it allows you to come back up to your site here and perhaps situate some chairs. Say you put your chairs like right here, and then you're looking at a little section of green, Clear Lake straight ahead, very beautiful. So yeah, 15 is pretty good. I like 15. My main gripe is probably just the poor lot lines with 14 right there, because you do have another party right there. And unfortunately, just the line of sight and the noise, you're gonna feel like they're kind of right in your personal space the entire time. So 14, 15 aren't well cut from that point of view, but you trade off that privacy ding for really the best view and access to Clear Lake Shoreline, and Clear Lake Loop so far. So everything in life is trade-offs, my friend. That is the trade-offs for 15. Also, again, very well paved as far as ADA, and you do have the restroom being located right here. So those are both good things. So we will move on to 16. So far, I like 11 and 12 as a group play. I like 14 and 15 as a group play. 15's got the best views and access so far. But here is 16. It's on the side of the lake, which is encouraging. And I'll just stop here and show you the epicosity of Willamette National Forest. Little rock cluster here. Remember, I'm walking by the restroom to my left. So here's 16. Decent driveway. Ooh, blue bird there, very cool. I'm not a bird expert, so I'm sure somebody could easily recognize that, but it looks beautiful. There's your picnic table, fire pit on the left. I will also point out right away, look at this lack of shade. So this is definitely what I call a sunscreen site. Bring your sunscreen, SPF, and come over here. You've got a very clearly defined tent pad. You can hear on my left, the other side of the lake is the highway. So you got unusually loud highway noise from here. That's the cost of doing business to be this close to Clear Lake. Unavoidable. So you got Clear Lake here. You got views of Clear Lake. You do have the highway over there, so you'll hear road noise. Never escape the road noise the whole trip, but you do have exposure to Clear Lake. I wouldn't say this is like a picturesque, postcard view. You have kind of a dirty forest between you, but you have contact with the lake. Presumably, straight down here, you see where the stump is. Looks like there's a trail that takes you over to the main Clear Lake loop, which circumnavigates beautiful Clear Lake. So good for access, but you will have people walking by kind of between us and the lake. The shoreline is the trail, so people will be walking by talking, so be aware of that. But this is kind of your area down there. That stump is kind of your domain. It's cool. Let me pan back over here just so you get the full 360. Again, you got the restroom there. This is your main area, your picnic table, where you put your tent, where I'm standing right now. So 16 is interesting. Kind of got these volcanic rocks over there, which is character, kind of cool vibe. I'm digging. So pan back around one more time. Clear Lake, your access point to Clear Lake, both the shoreline and the loop, your picnic table. Interestingly carved. So that was 16. Last thing I'll say about 16 again is, remember, it's a sunscreen site. So this is not one that I might want like mid-August on an 80, 90 degree weather day, because you're gonna be hot, my friend. So keep that in mind. So many different dimensions of analysis. Are you thinking about shade? What time of year you come in? You're thinking about lake access? You're thinking about trail access? You're thinking about privacy lines? You're looking for a serviceable base camp because you're going to be hiking all day, so you don't really care if the site is a dream site, or are you looking for a destination site where you're going to spend the entire day in a chair at your site? All of these different decisions and rank order value priorities determine what kind of site you want. Okay, so you've got your restroom over there, you've got your wastewater there. Now here's 17, it's a double. You got driveway straight ahead, driveway over here. Got a couple picnic tables. Let's check this one out. I'm gonna come this side. Nice long driveway, one really long driveway, one moderate length driveway. So you could definitely get an RV right there though. Picnic table 1 and 2, fire pit. Now this one is starting to get more prominent views of the lake, a little bit more postcard worthy. See right here, got a money shot of the lake. You come around here, you got a second picnic table, and you've got your fire pit. Again, well paved for ADA. So interesting. So as far as tent placement, clearly the other side of the stump here is where you'd want to put at least one tent, if not 2 tents. See, it's big enough you could probably put 2 side-by-side tents. That's probably your main area. Over here to the right of this fire pit feels a little congested because you would have a car there and then access to that. I don't know if you want a tent right there. That kind of clogs up your fire pit area. So I feel like it's a double with 2 picnic tables, theoretically 2 tents, then 2 parking spots. I think you would actually put them side by side right there. It's big enough for 2, so that's my read. I will point out you can see your friend down there, 16, so not ideal privacy lines. You do have great views of Clear Lake. I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear the highway noise on the other side of the lake, so it's just cost doing business here. There's no way to avoid that. Let's come down here. Remember, there's also a trail between us and the lake, the Shoreline Trail, the loop, circumnavigates the loop. So theoretically, all of these have side access to the loop. So that's convenient for your own access to it. Yeah, I can see straight ahead. You go down these rocks and you can access ultimately the trail. So that's good for your own access. A little suboptimal as far as if you hear people walking by talking, but not a big deal. You're pretty far away from it. I don't think that'll really impact you from up here. So this is 17. Again, 2 picnic tables, fire pit, put your tent here, 2 driveways right next to the wastewater and pretty close to the restroom. So built out amenities, good paving for ADA. So 17 is really high quality, I gotta say. Again, probably one of the best views of Clear Lake so far. And you have your trail system down to the Clear Lake Loop Shoreline. We shall continue along, my friend. So it doesn't appear that there's an 18. Maybe they consolidated to make 17 a double. Sometimes campgrounds do that. Because the next one I'm coming up to here on the right is 19. So I don't really think there is an 18. That's okay. So here is site 19, the last one in this loop. Here, this loop takes us back to the campground sign. It's a moderate length driveway. Kind of interesting one. You get this little yellow brick road, Primrose Path. Got good views of Clear Lake coming down this path. You got a nice little section of green right there. You see the Shoreline trail on the left. So that's beautiful. But then you come around the corner here, you got better shade, so that's good. But you don't really get much of a yield. Come down here and you don't really get a view of the lake once you're down here. So ironically, your view is better carrying your gear to your site than being at your site. Picnic table, fire pit. They did a good job not having 17 feeling like it's overlooking you, the big doubler to our right. Come over here, it looks like there is a trail down to the Clear Lake Loop, which is over there. Fortunately, we can't really see the lake. We do have the negative of all the road noise carrying across the lake on the other side of the highway because we're right up against that side. So I don't know, decent privacy lines, a lot of road noise. You can hear people on the Clear Lake Loop. I probably wouldn't do 19. I feel like, it's a little bit more work to carry your gear around this little path. That's not that big of a deal. So we did the first section 1 through 5. We did the number 6 through 19 loop. Now we're coming down a long stretch to do the final loop, which is 20 through, I believe, 33. And then we will be done with Coldwater Cove Campground. Here is numeral 20, otherwise known as 20. Here on the right, it's an inner, meaning it's away from the feature being Clear Lake. I will say very good shade because that long drive has got very good privacy lines, long campground road. You got your picnic table and fire pit, nice long driveway, and that's where you'd put your tent, really the only place you could. Pan back and give you the epicosity of beautiful Willamette National Forest. So I like the shade. Again, fire pit, picnic table. You got to watch these rocks. It's volcanic, it's cool, but it's a little bit of a trip hazard. See here, this doesn't really take us anywhere. This is the end of the line. So picnic table, fire pit, nice long driveway. To our left was such a nice long campground road that you got nobody, but you can see straight ahead. Looks like you got 21 on the opposite side. Definitely put my tent there. So good shade, serviceable base camp, not a destination site by any stretch, but serviceable. If you're hiking in the area, 20 is pretty good privacy, serviceable base camp. That is how I would rate 20. Here is 21. It's an inner. We got our driveway, nice long driveway, actually long enough for an RV, I would say. You got a nice paved path to picnic table and fire pit. That's nice. This one's got a good feng shui to it. Come around the corner and you kind of feel good. Some sites just have that design. Let me stop here and show you the epicosity of Willamette National Forest, the sun. Here's your fire pit. Put your tent straight ahead right here. Here's a section of the forest, kind of volcanic, but what I would ultimately call dirty forest. So there's not much going on here. 20 and 21 are pretty similar. They're both pretty good privacy. You got the restroom straight ahead, just past 20 and 21. So 20 and 21 are both decent privacy, nothing special, just a good swath of Willamette National Forest. Great base camps. So 20 and 21 I would recommend as privacy play base camps. So here's 22, and there's our wastewater, our main campground road, our restroom, 2021 down there. So this is an inner, nice, decent driveway, probably long enough for an RV, picnic table, fire pit straight ahead. Again, good, competent base camp privacy lot lines. Decent shade at the fire pit, but looking up, it looks like you're a little more exposed than average here at the picnic table itself. So a bit of a sunscreen site. I will say it looks like good square footage. Put your tent straight ahead here. Now the thing I don't like about it, this is a personal preference, is you see there, you see through the campground to other campsites. So you got at least 2 picnic tables straight ahead. To me, that's a deal breaker, because then you kind of feel like you're in a parking lot when you can see a bunch of other parties through the trees. I would much rather do 20 or 21 than 22. At least 20 and 21 felt like they were their own little carved nook. You've had a sense of privacy. For me, that's a deal breaker. That's a different strokes, different folks. You do you. But I probably wouldn't do 22, considering 20 and 21 right down there were both higher quality in my humble opinion as far as the privacy lines. Here's 24 on the left, 23 on the right. A little bit of what I call wishbone campsites, which is not a compliment. It's when they kind of both extend from the same starting point. A lot of times that means the privacy lot lines between the two of them are poor. So moderately length driveway, nice paved primrose path to your picnic table fire pit, decent shade. Doesn't feel like there'd be a lot of direct sun at your site, which is good. We come around here. I'm currently at my picnic table. I can see the picnic table straight ahead to the left of the tree, but there is some obstruction. So it's not like perfect line of sight. You get a sense of it, but they did a decent job with that. You have to put your tent straight ahead there because that's the only place it would go. So right here, I'm standing at the tent, looking back. So again, this is 23, kind of wishbone with 24. I don't love it. Again, serviceable base camp. So far in this loop, I like 20 and 21 the best. They both felt like they were carved like in their own little nook niche. 22 I didn't like because you could see through the trees a bunch of other sites. 23 and 24 feel a little too close to each other. So for me, that's suboptimal. Here's 24. 24, this also actually negatively impacts 23. I think 24 is a doubler because you got a really high quality turnabout, fair play style. So that's great for an RV. You never have to put it in R. So you got an RV, 24 is great. And look at that, it's a doubler, big for a big group, big family, big party. 2 picnic tables, fire pit, got some stump side tables, which I dig. I will say 23 is right there. There is some line of sight breakage, so it's not that bad, but you definitely will sense that there's people there. You got your fire pit, pretty good shade. Let me do the pan back. Epicosity of Willamette National Forest. You're kind of in this little mini canyon nook area, so that's nice. You feel nestled. See, your turnabout's pretty awesome. So 24 is an outstanding RV play. You got a big party. 24 is legit. Really the only ding is you got 23 straight ahead. You can see the picnic table, but it's not the end of the world. There's worse lot lines here than that one. So that was 24. I probably wouldn't do 24 as a single party just because, first of all, it's a doubler, so it's twice as expensive. But second of all, you don't really get much and you lose some privacy lot lines. Here's 25. Again, there's our campground road. 22 is right there. 22 had that issue where you could see through the forest to a bunch of other sites. I have a feeling 25 will suffer the same fate, but we'll give it a fair shake. Long driveway, paved access to your picnic table. Don't want to be a broken record, but I don't know if I've ever seen such good paving in a campground. It feels like this entire campground is ADA accessible. I'm impressed. It's not the case in most campgrounds. Picnic table, fire pit. So look at that. You got a picnic table straight ahead. And you got your friends over there. So you got somebody there, somebody there. You can see through to the road on the other side. To me, that's always kind of suboptimal. So I wouldn't do 25. Decent shade, not what I would call a sunscreen site. So, serviceable, but suboptimal. I would rather be on this loop at 20 or 21 are still the best. I think 22 and 25 are the worst just because of that breakthrough of the trees to the other side. That's the problem. That's the incumbent problem when you have an inner site. So oftentimes they have poor line of sight with the other side because they're trying to maximize the number of sites they can jam into the area. So the collateral damage is typically the privacy of the inner sites because they're right on top of each other. So classic problem of almost all campgrounds, nothing specific about Coldwater Cove, but just a design problem of campgrounds in general. Here's 26. Same exact monologue as 25. Really long driveway, like practically fit 2 RVs in this driveway, like one of the longest driveways here. So that's impressive. I will say the forest has an epic feel to it. Let me just pan. Look at this. Let me pan back. So epicosity as far as Willamette National Forest. Park here. Got your picnic table, fire pit. Has a nice big open feel. as far as the feng shui. Again, I don't like, you see the campground road is meandering all the way around you, so you never really escape that parking lot feel or seeing vehicles driving around you the entire time. So it's a little suboptimal. Come over here and, oh, you got 25 right there. You got your friend over there, which I think we haven't gotten to yet. And you got another friend over there. So you got 3 parties at their picnic tables in this forest section zone, and you got the road all the way around you. So, but in the plus columns, you have a really long driveway. And again, I'll come back around here and show you how awesome this forest is. So if you want to just feel like you are nestled amongst giants here at Willamette National Forest, big square footage, big swath of shade, nice long parking, and 26 is great, but for me, not what I'm personally looking for, but different strokes, different folks. So that was 26. So one last look back at 26. Again, it's got great shade, great square footage, nice, beautiful swath of Willamette National Forest, great driveway, but doesn't have the best privacy lot lines with 3 other picnic tables in your line of sight and the main campground road kind of going all the way around your site. So for me, the privacy is a deal breaker, but you do you. Very good square footage on that one, I'll say that. So that was 26. There's 33 overall, so we are getting near the edge of glory. We'll see. So here we got an intersection. It says tents to the left, the boat ramp to the right. I will point out that 27 is actually over here. So a little counterintuitive. Park there, nice long driveway. The lake is over there. Can't really have contact with it. You get a sense of it. Nice long driveway, picnic table, fire pit. Ooh, I will say I don't love this. You see the main campground road banks right there. So every car driving by is like driving right by the heart of your site. It's a deal breaker for me. Just to pan back, you can see where the sun is. Beautiful section of Willamette National Forest. I just don't like where the campground road banks right next to the heart of your site. Feels like you never really get the nook of privacy. So I probably wouldn't do 27, keeping it real. Again, in this 20 to 33 loop, I like the first 2, 20 and 21. They were the most private thus far. So here's 29. It's an inner. I'll point out you got a couple friends over here. So you got another picnic table right there. So already the lot lines aren't great. You got a lot of friends. You're kind of clustered. You got a picnic table over there. You got a picnic table over there. So if you are a fan of triangulation, 29 is the site for you. It doesn't have the long driveway, so this is not an RV site. This is a car site, car SUV. Got your picnic table, fire pit. Again, horrible lot lines. You got maybe 5 picnic tables by my count that have a direct line of sight to your picnic table. So for me, that's a little too landlocked. You do also have the restroom over there. You have the road on both sides of you because the boat ramp is down there. So you'll have a constant stream of boaters driving around. You could probably hear the beep, beep, beep from here. So you got, to me, the worst of a lot of worlds, not to be so negative, but when you got 5 sites, all with a direct line of sight, a very small driveway, very low square footage. Look, your fire pit basically feels like it's on the campground road. And then you've got all of the hustle and bustle, all of the boaters driving around and then driving that way, people stopping by the bathroom going. Then 29, probably one of the worst sites here so far to me. Not a high quality site. You know, if you want to be in the center of the action, if you're going to be gone all day and you don't really care, then that works, but not really a site I would personally want to stay at. In this loop, I would still stay at 20 or 21. I think those were both reasonably high quality as far as at least the privacy. Here's 30. Pan back for bearings. Remember, you got a picnic table there, picnic table there, picnic table there, picnic table there, picnic table there. So you got at least 5. Again, it's exactly the same as 29. 30. I feel like the commentary on all these are going to be very similar. I won't be too repetitive. This one's got a much longer driveway than 29. 29, look, had a very short driveway. 30 has at least an RV length driveway. That's good. Much better shade on this one, better square footage than 29. Got your picnic table, fire pit beyond it. Remember, you got your friend right there. So let me pan back and show you the apicosity. Beautiful Willamette National Forest. Remember when I was talking about 22 breaking through, that's straight ahead. 26 is over there. So not my favorite setup. I feel like the quality is diminishing in this final little cluster. We're going to 33, this was 30. I think this last cluster is frankly the lowest quality of this whole campground. keeping it real. So I wouldn't do most of them on this side. I wouldn't do 29 or 30 just for the privacy. Here's 31, picnic table. This one's got a short little stubby driveway like 29 did. 30 behind me had a RV length one. Decent shade, feels well manicured. This one's got that special feel where it feels like they put some love into carving it when you walk up to it. You got your fire pit straight ahead. I put my tent right there. Pretty forest. Again, you got your friend there. So low square footage site. This is kind of base camp central. These aren't destination sites, in my humble opinion. You wouldn't want to come here and spend 12 hours at your site. That to me is not where dreams are made. But if you're going hiking all day and there's world-class hiking, then these are all serviceable. Here's 32. You got your nice long driveway. And you got your friend right there. Hey buddy, I'm out of marshmallows. Come over here. Low square footage. You got your picnic table, fire pit. Cool stump right there. So you see how the campground road just is right meandering around your site. Never really feel like you got in the forest, and then you got your friend behind you. Where'd you put your tent? I guess you have to put your tent right here. That even makes it worse. Because if you put your tent right here, now you're even closer to your new best friends. But where else do you put your tent? If you put it to the right of the picnic table, now you're like right on the road. I guess you could put it right here, but if you put it straight ahead over here, now you're even closer to the campground road, closer to your friend there, and you're so close to there. So I feel like they crafted this one not really thinking about where you're gonna put your tent, and you know, obviously you're giving up on privacy if you're at 32. So not good. 32 is like 29, or probably one of the worst here. Don't mean to have taken such a stark turn in my tone, but I'm trying to be honest and objective. Here's 33. There's the main road. So at least 33 is the last one, so it should have a little bit better privacy. Kind of a stumpy driveway, big enough for a car, but not an RV. This is the end of the line of this campground road, so that's good. That gives you more privacy on this side in theory. Come down here, very well shaded, not a sunscreen site. Picnic table, fire pit. I do like, so 33 is the best one in this cluster because it's on the edge, so it's naturally got better privacy lines. You can put your tent way over here. Now I'm coming over, probably I put my tent right here. So at least now you're away from the road a bit, so a little less noise. You do have your friend there and your friend over there. So not like idyllic privacy, but better than the last cluster that I was ragging on a little bit. So 33 is the best out of this lower section, but I still like 20 and 21 better in this loop. Say 20, 21, and maybe 33 are arguably like the three best. Here is our boat ramp launch. It is no motorized boats. You can see a little bit of a launch there, which I appreciate. That's one of the reasons why Clear Lake is so clear, crystal clear. You can see the bottom, hence the name Clear Lake. There's a little roundabout. You got a nice fish cleaning station. No sink, so I might grab a bucket so you can be courteous for the next fish cleaner. And you do also have the access to the Clear Lake Shoreline Loop right here on your left. Okay, so I just walked all 33 sites here at Coldwater Cove Campground, Willamette National Forest, Oregon. Here are my thoughts. So out of the 33, I don't think there's what I would call like a destination-worthy campsite, like a dream campsite that, you know, you spend years trying to grab and you come here and want to spend all your time 12 hours a day at the campsite, like in your chairs, just chilling. I don't think that's this kind of campground. That said, I do think this is a very high quality, what I'll call base camp campground. Because of the way it's constructed, it's got a Clear Lake Shoreline Loop that circumnavigates the perimeter of the loop. So that's automatically going to be between you and every campsite. So there isn't an ideal campsite here. Several of the sites kind of on the outer do have their own little direct side trails to that shoreline loop, which is convenient for your own hike of it, but also as a privacy thing because you'll hear people walking by talking from your site. So that said, I really do love and appreciate Willamette National Forest. I think this is a world-class hiking zone, so I'm not, by any means am I denigrating Coldwater Cove. I just think that you want to come in with your eyes wide open. It's reasonably above average high quality campground, serviceable base camp, but not really about the sites, more about the base camp. But if you go hiking and you go do Sahili Coosa Falls, which I think is a top 3 waterfall hike in the state of Oregon, you do Clear Lake Loop, which I think is a top lake shoreline hike in Oregon, you go do Crescent Mountain, which is a bit underrated. I call it the Sound of Music hike. because of a hillside full of flowers with mountain views. And you go do Tamalish Blue Pool, which is an international destination because of the color of the blue minerals trapped in there refracting the light. That's 4 world-class hikes, very easily accessible from here. So I think Coldwater Cove ultimately is very worth booking. If you can grab a site here, get the best one you can, go hike the area, have yourself a great long weekend, world-class zone. So overall, I would say, highly recommend Coldwater Cove Campground.